Welcome everyone to the deep dive. I'm really glad you could join us today. This is our weekly exploration, where we take a gentle walk through some really significant, profound texts. We're not about rushing here or overwhelming you with information, not at all. Instead, our whole mission really is to sit with these ancient stories, kind of pull out their timeless insights, and maybe offer a fresh perspective, something that resonates with where you are in life right now. So if you're someone who's lived a full life, seen the ups and downs, and maybe you're seeking some meaning now, or perhaps a comforting routine, or just new ways to find peace in wisdom you might already know, then this deep dive is absolutely for you. It's a space for quiet reflection, for connection, for discovery. And joining me, as always, is someone whose insights I deeply value, a voice bringing decades of, gentle pastoral presence and a real understanding of late life spiritual reflection. It's truly an honor to explore these texts with you.
Oh, thank you. It's genuinely a privilege to share this space and this journey with you and with our listeners. I always look forward to these conversations. There's a real thoughtfulness here.
Well, today we're starting at arguably the most famous beginning of all, Genesis chapter 1. Specifically verses 1 through 5. And we want to frame this maybe not just as this grand cosmic story from, way back when, but also as a really profound narrative about our own beginnings, personal ones, about transformations that happen all through life, and maybe about finding comfort in life cycles, even the surprising ones. Okay, so let's unpack this timeless story of how everything began. Let's see what wisdom it might hold for us right here, right now. Now, before we really dive in, I want to invite you, our listener, just to prepare to listen, to absorb. No need to analyze anything right now or solve anything. Just maybe let the words wash over you. You might even want to close your eyes for a moment if that feels comfortable. We're going to read these verses twice, actually, in two slightly different translations, just to let the nuances sink in, maybe hear them fresh.
Okay, let's listen. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. That's from the New International Version.
Mm-hmm. And now let's hear it again. This version is a bit more contemporary, maybe more poetic. It's from the Message translation. First, this. God created the heavens and earth, all you see, all you don't see. Earth was a soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness, an abyss of nothing. God's Spirit brooded over the face of the waters. God spoke, "Light," and light appeared. God saw that light was good. God separated light from dark. God named the light day and the dark night. Evening came and then morning. Day one.
Wow, that imagery right from the start. It's so striking, isn't it?
It really is. The earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and then the Spirit of God was hovering. That phrase, formless and void, it grabs me every time. It's such a powerful description of, chaos. Utter disarray, a place with no shape, no purpose yet. When I read that, I almost feel that lack of definition, that disorientation. What does it really convey to you, that phrase?
It is striking. And it's absolutely foundational, I think, to understanding the whole story that follows. The original Hebrew words there are tohu vavohu.
Ah, yes.
And it's not just, emptiness like a vacuum. It's stronger than that. It really emphasizes a state of desolation, unorganized chaos, like a wilderness, a wasteland, maybe even ruin, disarray. Think of it less like a clean, blank slate and maybe more like that chaotic soup the Message translation uses.
A soup of nothingness.
Exactly. It points to a really deep, profound void, a state of not yetness. But what's truly remarkable here, and what I find so profound, is that God doesn't start with perfection.
Right. That's key, isn't it?
It is. He doesn't wait for things to be neat, all tidied up, for order to already be there before he gets involved. He begins within that messy, unformed reality, right in the middle of the tohu vavohu. And that's a powerful theological statement, isn't it, about where creation and really where transformation begins. It kind of challenges our human impulse, to get ready first or clean up before we dare to start something new.
Oh, that's such a comforting thought when you think about it personally. We do that, don't we? We try to clean up our lives, get everything organized just right, feel like we're in control, prepared before we feel ready for something new, or even ready to just begin again after something's disrupted everything. But here, the divine plan, it starts right in the middle of the mess, in that tohu vavohu.
Precisely.
And when you talk about that sense of purposelessness, that, undefined chaos, I can't help but think about certain times in life, seasons that many of our listeners, and well, myself too, have probably walked through.
Yes, I think we all have.
Like, think about retirement. That's a huge one for me.
Absolutely. A profound transition.
After decades of structure, right. A job, a clear purpose, a daily rhythm, colleagues, your role. And then suddenly there can be this vacuum. The alarm doesn't go off for that meeting. The emails stop pouring in. The responsibilities you carried, maybe for 30, 40 years, they're just gone.
Just gone.
And in that absence, that sudden space, searching for new meaning, it can feel very much like that formless and void state, can't it?
It really can. A deep disorientation. A loss of the familiar shape of your identity.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not just retirement. Think about the profound disorientation of grief,
Oh, yes.
especially something like widowhood, where your partner, the person who shaped maybe every part of your daily life, is suddenly not there. The routines, the little jokes, the shared plans for the future, all vanished, leaving this huge aching void. The whole landscape of your life is just completely altered.
Completely.
Or, the physical shifts, the identity shifts that can come with aging. The body changes, maybe capabilities lessen a bit.
Yeah.
And the person you felt you were in your prime seems to recede somehow.
Yeah.
And you feel a bit unformed in this new skin,
Yeesh.
navigating a new reality.
Yes. Finding your footing again.
Or maybe it's the quiet after a long period of intense caregiving finally ends. That leaves a new, sometimes very unanticipated space.
Right. That void moment.
These are all real void moments, aren't they? Seasons where things feel chaotic, uncertain, or just empty. Times when the old forms, the old structures have dissolved, and the new ones haven't quite shown up yet.
It's so true. It reminds me of like a garden after winter before anything starts to grow again.
It's a good analogy.
Everything familiar from last season is gone. Maybe just bare earth, a bit barren, unsettled.
Yeah.
It could be the kids leaving home, that empty nest feeling where the quiet feels like a lack, not a presence.
Right.
Or a health diagnosis that just shifts everything, forces you to completely reimagine your future. Or even just that quiet slowing down that happens naturally for many as they get older. The pace changes. What used to fill the days just doesn't anymore. The old forms fade and the new ones haven't yet taken shape. It's a natural part of living, I suppose, but it feels profoundly unsettling when you're right in the middle of it.
It really does. And Judith, this is where I think the truly profound implication lies.
Okay.
God doesn't avoid the void. He doesn't step back from the chaos. He leans into it. He begins there.
He begins there.
Yes. And this offers us such a powerful message, a message of permission, really. Don't you think?
Permission. How so?
Permission to accept our own messy seasons, our chaotic times, our uncertain moments, not as something wrong, something to be rushed past or fixed immediately, or heaven, something to be ashamed of, but instead to see them as legitimate starting points, and maybe even sacred starting points for something new. It's a reminder that even when we feel utterly lost, purposeless, stuck in our own personal tohu vavohu, the Spirit of God is still hovering.
Hovering. I like that image.
Still present. Still working, perhaps in ways we can't yet see. It suggests it's not a place we need to escape from, but actually a place where divine presence is already assured. And that really challenges our culture, doesn't it? The narrative that tells us we always need to be productive, always moving forward, always fine.
Always fine. Yes.
Sometimes the most profound work, the deepest growth, begins in those quiet, unformed spaces.
So, what does this all mean for us then? For you listening right now, perhaps you've had your own formless and void moments, maybe in the past, or maybe, just maybe, you feel like you're in one right now. If so, just take a quiet moment as you listen. Just acknowledge that. And know that it's okay. This ancient story tells us God doesn't shy away from that space. God meets us right there, in the deepest part of the unformed. Not waiting for us to get it all figured out first. It really offers a profound sense of permission, as you said. Permission just to be in that difficult space, knowing you're not alone. Okay.
Now, moving from that deep sense of the void, this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. Because right after describing this darkness, this chaos, God speaks, just speaks. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. It's such a powerful declarative moment. Boom, light. But it feels like more than just, flipping a light switch or lighting a lamp. It has to be, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's far more profound than just physical illumination. The Hebrew word used here for light is or, O-R, or.
And while our minds immediately jump to daylight, sunshine, it's really crucial to notice that the physical sun and moon, the things that give us our daylight, that govern our days and nights.
Right, they come late.
They weren't created until day 4 in the Genesis story, much later.
So this first light, this or, is different.
It's different. It's something distinct, something deeper. Scholars suggest it implies things like presence, revelation, clarity, awareness, maybe even spiritual insight or understanding.
Ah, okay. Like an inner light.
Possibly. It's the very first act of God's creative will, coming even before the physical ordering of the cosmos. You could think of it as a kind of divine spark that pierces the darkness. Not just illumination, but maybe a kind of spiritual awakening happening before the physical order gets established.
Wow.
It's like the light of being itself, or truth, or knowing, something independent of physical sources, which implies perhaps that light in this fundamental sense is always available, even when our physical world feels utterly dark.
That's a fascinating distinction.
Yeah.
Really crucial. So it's not about, banishing physical shadows. It's something more fundamental, existential almost.
Yes. Like
The
that.
light that makes meaning possible, that lets us perceive, understand, just be in a new way, find purpose where there wasn't any.
That's a good way to put it.
And it comes straight from God's voice, God's intention, God's presence, just breaking into that initial chaos, illuminating our inner landscape, maybe more than the outer one. So if this light, this or, is independent of the sun and moon, does that mean it's always somehow accessible, even when things feel really dark personally?
That's the implication, yes.
Yeah.
Because its source isn't external or dependent on our circumstances. Its source is divine.
Right.
And this light, this or, often shows up in ways we might not expect.
Yeah.
Especially perhaps as we navigate later life. We often look for the big signs, don't we? The burning bush, the dramatic
The
turnaround.
lightning bolt moment, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But often, the or appears in quiet, unexpected ways. Very gentle ways. I remember a story, quite poignant, from my pastoral work years ago. It really illustrates this for me. There was a woman, maybe late 70s, who had just lost her husband. 50 years they'd been married.
Oh, wow.
And she described herself as being in an absolute impenetrable darkness, just lost in grief, not looking for answers, just lost.
Understandable.
Her days felt completely empty, purposeless. She'd barely left the house for weeks. Then one afternoon, a neighbor, a younger woman she didn't know well at all, just showed up at her door. Brought a simple casserole, homemade.
How kind.
Didn't preach, didn't offer easy answers, didn't try to fix her grief. She just sat with her, quietly, for maybe an hour, listened while the widow talked about her husband. Sometimes just held her hand. And that widow told me later, she said, it wasn't a sudden flash, like lightning. But, she said, it was like a tiny flicker, a warmth right here in my chest. Just enough, she said, to see I wasn't completely alone in the dark. Now that, for me, that was the or of God. Not in some grand theological revelation, but in a simple, unexpected act of human kindness, a tangible connection, a quiet moment of being truly seen.
That's beautiful.
It was just enough light for her to take the very smallest next step.
That story really resonates. It shows how light can look so different at different times in our lives, doesn't it? It often isn't that dramatic burning bush moment that changes everything instantly, or that sudden, overwhelming clarity.
No, rarely.
Instead, maybe it's the quiet thing, like someone remembering your name when you felt forgotten.
Yes.
Or just a simple phone call from an old friend checking in. It could be the warmth of a grandchild's hug that just cuts through a wave of loneliness for a second.
Those moments matter.
Or maybe just a fleeting moment of peace that comes out of nowhere when you're worrying about something chronic, just enough to remind you to breathe.
Right.
Or perhaps it's that sudden little click of understanding about a family situation, something you've puzzled over for years, and suddenly, a small aha moment.
Yes, those little ahas.
Those are the flickers, aren't they? Those subtle yet profound flickers of or, piercing our personal darkness, illuminating just enough, not the whole path maybe, but just the immediate next step.
Exactly. It's often about the quiet arrival of a new perspective.
Yeah.
Or maybe just a little surge of inner strength when times are tough, even when the overall circumstances, the big picture, remains really challenging.
Right. The light doesn't necessarily make the problem vanish.
No, it doesn't. But it can shift our awareness, can it? Rekindle a tiny spark of hope. Remind us that we are seen, we are known, we are loved, even in the depths of what feels like a long night. It's like a subtle invitation to move from just, enduring the darkness to maybe beginning to perceive possibilities within it. however faint they might seem.
Possibilities within the darkness.
It's about recognizing that even if we don't have the grand answers, there can be this quiet presence that guides us forward, one breath, one step at a time. It's that fundamental recognition of simply being.
And what's remarkable, following that light, that or is another phrase, seems simple, but it's loaded with meaning, too. There was evening and there was morning, the first day.
That recurring rhythm.
We hear that and we naturally think, okay, sunset, sunrises, that's a day, standard stuff. But there's a crucial historical detail here, isn't there? Something about the ancient understanding that completely flips how we usually think about time.
Indeed, there is. It's often overlooked, but it's absolutely central to understanding this passage. And really, much of ancient Jewish thought and practice even today.
Okay, what is it?
In the ancient Jewish tradition, and still observed by many Jewish people, a new day doesn't begin at sunrise. It begins at sundown.
Ah, yes, sundown. Not midnight, not sunrise.
Correct. Sundown. So when the text says, there was evening and there was morning the first day, it literally means the day started with the evening, with the darkness.
It started with darkness.
And then moves into the light of the morning. It's rooted right there in the creation account. Evening first, then morning.
That is such a profound shift in perspective when you really let it sink in.
Isn't it?
It means that rest, darkness, sleep, reflection, all the evening things, they actually precede the labor, the activity, the daylight work.
Yes. Rest comes first.
Darkness isn't presented as the end, the conclusion of something old. It's the start of something new.
Precisely.
We're so conditioned, especially in modern life, to see darkness as the end, the close of the day, time to stop.
Or something to fear, perhaps.
Or fear, yes. But here, it's the genesis, it's the preamble. It feels almost countercultural to our relentless drive for productivity during daylight hours.
It really does. And this concept, I find, resonates so deeply, especially with older listeners. Many people, as they journey through life, inevitably navigate what feel like dark seasons.
We all do.
Periods of loss, losing loved ones, perhaps loss of health, loss of roles that were once central to identity. And these can feel like deep, unending nights.
Yes, they can.
We face transitions that leave us feeling adrift, unmoored. Or physical limitations might force us to slow down, to enter a period of less activity, which could feel like an imposed evening.
Right. And enforced rest.
And our instinct often is to resist these evenings, to fight the slowing down, to fear the darkness of uncertainty or inactivity. But the message embedded right here in Genesis 1 is one of, I think, profound comfort and reorientation. It tells us, even after the deepest night, a new morning can follow and will follow.
That hope is built in.
It is. The darkness isn't the final word. It's actually the beginning of the next chapter. It invites us to consider that these periods of quiet, of maybe reduced outward doing, of inner struggle or reflection, they aren't deficits.
They're not failures.
Not at all. They might be fundamental, even necessary, stages for new creation, new understanding, new life to emerge. Just as the earth rested in darkness before the light was spoken, maybe we too can find the potential for new beginnings within our own times of stillness or perceived emptiness.
I can certainly relate to that personally. There have been times, definitely, especially after a significant loss, where it genuinely felt like living in a perpetual twilight, a constant evening. The bright light of life, as I'd known it, just seemed dimmed, permanently, almost.
Yes.
And for a long time, the idea of a new morning felt, well, honestly, almost insulting, like someone forcing cheerfulness on you.
I understand that completely.
But over time, very slowly, in really subtle ways, those little moments started to creep back in. Moments of peace, maybe just being fully present for a minute, or even a flicker of quiet joy.
Ah, the flickers again.
Yes. It wasn't a sudden sunrise blasting away all the shadows, not at all. It was much more like a gradual dawning.
A gentle dawning.
Yes, a slow, soft light appearing on the horizon that you barely notice at first. Like those long winter mornings, you know, where the light comes so slowly, almost imperceptibly. For hours, it might just be that gray, soft light. But eventually, undeniably, it is day. And the warmth follows, eventually. It really teaches you patience with the process, I think.
That's a beautiful and I think a deeply true way to describe it, that gradual dawning. And it invites us, doesn't it, to explore this idea that faith, well, faith isn't always about trying to banish the dark or pretending it doesn't exist.
Right. It's not about ignoring reality.
No. Sometimes, maybe often, it's about the quiet and sometimes very difficult act of simply waiting in it.
Waiting in the dark.
Waiting in the dark, trusting that light will come, even if it's just that tiny sliver of, or we talked about. It's about understanding that the evening isn't the end of the story. It's just the necessary prelude to a new beginning, a new day, a fresh possibility. It encourages us to find holiness, perhaps even in the moments of rest, in the quiet contemplation that darkness can actually bring.
That's a shift, seeing darkness not just as absence, but as possibility.
Knowing that these are the fertile ground, the soil from which the next stage of life, the next insight can emerge.
Yeah.
It gives us permission, maybe, to release that need we often feel to control the timing of the dawn.
Ah, yes. Control.
And instead, simply trust in the rhythm of creation itself, the evening and morning rhythm. It also challenges our culture's constant emphasis on doing, doesn't it? Reminding us that sometimes the most profound growth happens in the stillness, in the not doing.
In the being.
In the being, exactly.
So let's bring this all together. What does this mean for you, listening today? How does Genesis 1, these first 5 verses, these ancient foundational words, how do they speak to our lives right now? What insights can we really carry forward from this incredible beginning?
Well, I think the relevance is immense, especially, as we said, for those of us who've lived long enough to see quite a few cycles of loss and renewal, many seasons of light and shadow. If you find yourself right now in what feels like a formless and void season, maybe it's the quiet of retirement, maybe the challenges of chronic illness, the deep ache of grief, the sting of loneliness, or maybe just navigating one of those emotional dark nights of the soul that can settle in. These verses offer, I believe, a really profound anchor. They remind us that our God doesn't stand back from chaos. He doesn't wait for us to get our lives all tidied up before he shows up.
No.
Instead, his spirit is hovering right over those places where we feel most unformed, most uncertain, most lost.
That's incredibly hopeful. The enduring message, then, it's quite simple, but so powerful, isn't it?
It truly is.
First, maybe, that God still hovers over the chaos of your life right now. Even when everything feels uncertain, messy, unformed, his spirit is present, attentive, ready to breathe life, ready to bring order.
Yes. Presence in the chaos.
Second, that light still enters. It still breaks through. And it comes into your life, maybe not through your own huge efforts to fix everything or force a solution,
Often not.
but through the gentle, powerful voice of God, or sometimes, as you said, through the unexpected kindness of others, those quiet flickers of
It's all kindnesses.
illuminating just your immediate path, showing you just enough for the next small step.
Just the next step.
Yeah.
That's often all we need.
And finally, perhaps the most comforting, evening is not the end.
Never the end.
It is simply the beginning of a new day, a new possibility, a new chance for growth, for peace, for connection, even after the deepest, darkest, most challenging nights.
It's about remembering that rhythm. Even the longest night eventually gives way to the dawn. And that whole process, evening to morning, chaos to order, void to light, that's God's own chosen rhythm for creation. And it's a rhythm we're invited to trust, to embrace in our own lives with all their cycles. It's a deep comfort, I think, to know that our struggles, our dark times, they aren't outside of God's creative process. They're actually woven right into it.
Woven in, not excluded.
Exactly. I was reminded as we were talking of a short reflection, maybe a kind of blessing for the journey for anyone navigating their own evening right now. May I share it?
Oh, please do. That would be lovely.
When shadows lengthen and the active day is done, know not the ending, but the new beginning spun. For in the quiet dark where mysteries softly lie, the first faint stirrings of tomorrow's gentle sigh, wait in the stillness, let your weary spirit mend. For God's own light, though hidden, will transcend. The quiet evening holds the promise of the morn, a sacred space where new life can be born.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
It just speaks to that idea of perseverance, doesn't it? Waiting for the dawn. And seeing the sacredness in these new beginnings that come right out of the darkness is just a gentle, hopeful thought to maybe carry forward, knowing that even the deepest night holds the seed of the dawn.
That's a wonderful thought to hold on to. Thank you. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Genesis 1 verses 1 to 5 today, let's maybe hold on to these key insights. First, that God's creative work starts right in the thick of it, in the chaos, the unformed, not in some perfect, tidy state.
Begins in the mess.
Second, that true light, that foundational ore, it comes from God's voice, God's presence, not just from outside circumstances or our own striving. It illuminates our inner world.
Yes, that inner illumination.
And finally, that in this grand rhythm of creation, evening isn't the final word. It's always, always the sacred prelude to a new day, a new beginning, a fresh possibility.
Evening, then morning.
Evening, then morning. Thank you so much for joining us today on this reflective journey. We truly hope these ideas might offer you some comfort, maybe some reassurance, perhaps a fresh perspective as you continue navigating your own beautiful and complex and ever-evolving life. Take these thoughts with you. Maybe mull them over this week. Consider how they might resonate with your own evenings and the quiet promise of new mornings. Next week, here on the Deep Dive, we'll continue right where we left off in Genesis. We'll look at verses 6 through 8. That's where God creates the sky, separates the waters. It's the next step in bringing more order to that initial void.
Layering the creation.
Exactly, and we'll explore how that might reflect the ways we try to structure and understand our own lives, too. So until then, please remember to subscribe to the Deep Dive if you haven't already. Maybe leave us a review if you found this conversation helpful. That always helps others find us. And perhaps share this deep dive with a friend, someone you think might appreciate this kind of gentle exploration. We look forward to being with you again very soon.